Welcome back to Real Estate Talk Podcast. Rob Keilman.
Joshua Britt.
All right, man. So apologize. We haven't been on for a while, and the reason why is we had some updates to our wonderful studio. You can't see everything right now, but rest assured we got new sound panels and whatnot. Had to do a little bit of renovations, but, you know, we're back at it, you know, getting to it and ready to talk about what's happening in the real estate industry. So I guess, Josh, was it at a time when people are starting to come together? They're starting to unfold at the fringes, I guess. So I think what we'll do is lead off with this interesting article that we came across, and that was over at this was Market Watch. Yep, this was you see the Compass having a tug of war with the buyer, and Zillow and Redfin also in this tug of war, and in the middle is just our average buyer here in the middle of these two knuckleheads. So selling a house in today's sluggish real estate market was already tough, and now one of the biggest players in real estate is asking people to do something that seems to make it even tougher: keep their listings private. I mean, what is that about?
Yeah, so Compass doesn't feel like they should follow the clear cooperation policy anymore, which it was put into place in 2020 whenever it was a lot of competition. It was a struggle for buyers to get homes. And essentially what was happening, and a lot of people felt that listings were being sold, houses were being sold before they ever even hit the market. And so that's why the clear cooperation policy was created.
Now, was that, I remember there was a time during the pandemic, right? And people were, you know, we would put offers in on homes. There would really be like 10 offers. And then what happens, you know, if you get like 30,000 over list price and somehow you're not getting it, you know, what was that? You know, there never was any reason. We never got any justification how an amazing offer like that never got accepted.
And that's the reason why clear cooperation policy was created, was because there was that thought like, hey, did this get sold out the back door? Like, how come? And then when you, as an agent, go back and look and see who bought the house, who represented it, and you see that it was both with the same company, you always felt like you were at a disadvantage. And so that's why the clear cooperation policy was created, to make sure that everyone, buyers, agents, brokerages, all had a fair shot at a house that was being listed on the market.
All right, so the fight has potential implications for home buyers and sellers alike, as home buyers could be blocked from seeing certain for sale listings, and sellers could get fewer eyeballs and offers on their home. One San Francisco resident says she almost made a $100,000 mistake by going the private listing route when she should have was first selling her house. Private listing route. This is what Compass is going towards. Private listings. Is that about right?
That is it. It's essentially saying, hey, if you want to buy a house that Compass has for sale, or that we could have for sale in the future, you need to join our private network of buyers when you're shopping for a home, and we'll give you all of the listings. We'll give you the coming soons, the ones that aren't on the market yet. So that way, if there's a particular neighborhood that you really want to be in, but you haven't seen any homes come available in there, and every time one comes, it goes like that, this is your opportunity to get on our list and be one of our private exclusive buyers, and you'll get to see it before anyone else.
And so what everybody, and so we're real estate agents. So in the real estate industry, whenever we, list a house, we put it on the MLS, and when we put it on the MLS, it goes to all these websites like, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, all these places. And but in order to play in the MLS, you have to play by certain rules. They have rules of engagement on there. And frankly, a lot of people might think they're overreaching?
Yes.
A bit overreaching. Some might think they're a little bit overreaching, and they're overstepping what they are. And that is, they are just a RSS feed service that feeds listings to other websites. That's all they are, and essentially. But a lot of times they're putting themselves as this ruling body. So the MLSs. So there are companies like Compass coming out there and saying, you know what, MLS, I don't know if I want to play with you anymore. I think I'm going to do my own thing. Kind of like a FSBO, but a FSBO brokerage, a for sale by owner brokerage. So but this person over here in San Francisco, we go back to the article, says she almost made a $100,000 mistake. So one of the first few offers Caitlin Bigelow received for her 2-bedroom condo in San Francisco 2 days after it was listed hit the magic number she was envisioning in her head. She won $2.1 million. Okay. Essentially, she didn't get what she wanted. Should have went with the MLS version first.
Yeah, because listen, at the end of the day, your buyer pool is only one brokerage. I don't care who it is, Compass, Berkshire, Howard Hanna, which we'll get to, but your buyer pool is only as big as what that number is. Mm-hmm. All of the buyers working, all of the brokerages working together collectively represent a larger buyer base. So therefore, as a seller, you want to get your house in front of as many people as possible so that way that you can get the best price possible, right?
Yeah.
But if you're stuck in just a small network over here, then this larger network over here may have a buyer who's willing and able to give you more for your house.
Yeah. And what else? So when the other offer fell through, she wasn't. Okay, this is just her story, how it didn't work out. Let me bring up Howard Hanna real quick. So screen. And here we go. Howard Hanna. What are they doing here? What's so significant about Howard Hanna?
Well, so what happened here in between Howard Hanna coming out on May 20th, you don't see it on the screen, but I got it right here. This right here is Zillow standards, listing standards.
Okay.
So Zillow comes out and says, hey, Compass, if you're going to do your private listing thing and you're going to keep your houses private, then when you cannot sell them to your own little private network, we are not going to put them on Zillow. So you're not going to get to have your cake and eat it too. And Zillow says that essentially the main reason for Compass wanting to do this is because they want to get double commissions, right? If they sell a house in network and 2 of their agents are selling it one to the other, well, then the brokerage essentially gets double commission because for those people who don't know how commissions work where the commission goes to the brokerage and the brokerage then pays out a certain amount to each agent. So for a brokerage, it's beneficial for you to get both sides of it because that's double the money.
So this is interesting. So basically Compass, just wrap that up was saying, okay, you know what? We're gonna list our own listings on our own website. Mm-hmm. We're not gonna use the MLS. Okay. And but Zillow came around and said, okay, mofos, if your stuff doesn't sell on your Compass websites, you're not putting it on Zillow websites.
That is 100% correct. And then, I mean, there's even another story that we don't have access to at this moment right now, but there's a lawsuit right now where an MLS, the Northwest MLS, decided that they were going to cut Compass's feed. And the reason why is because it's like, hey, if you're going to pull this private network of buyers available and you say, hey, we're going to shop on our website and you're going to get...
Hold on. I might have found something. Hold on. Let me see if I can bring it up. Is that... Well, actually in an article.
Yes.
Okay. It's Instagram.
There it is.
Okay. Yeah, it's Instagram article. Let me go back to it. Yeah. Compass escalated its battle over private listings in Washington State last week via a new lawsuit, but in doing so, revealed that waging war has come at a cost. The brokerage had lost both agents and listings in the course of the fight. That information comes from Compass's complaint which the company filed Friday, which accuses Northwest MLS of limiting competition, among other things. The complaint recalls an episode earlier this month during which NMLS cut off Compass's IDX feed. And IDX feed is very important if you want to get your listings on other websites, basically nationwide. An IDX feed takes data such as listings from the MLS and sends it to MLS members. In the complaint, Compass describes the move as a group boycott meant to undermine its business. Eventually, Compass claims that it's exactly what happened. Read more, in this place.
Yeah, and so it goes back to the thing that, so Compass, you want to have your own private network of buyers that you want to sell your listings to, but you still want the MLSs to send you all of the other listings from all of the other brokerages. So that way that buyers don't miss out on any houses that are over on the other brokerages while they're only looking at your listings, right?
Yeah.
And so it goes to a thing where if you are signing up for these exclusive private listing groups, networks, whatever they're calling them, and they only have X number of listings, that's all you're going to see on those websites. But Compass wants that IDX feed so that way they can show all of the other ones. And so when a buyer goes there and says, hey, I like this one, Compass can say, oh, great, we'll take you and show it to you.
Yeah, but that's good. So if they only, without MLS IDX support and without Zillow support, which is the top website as far as where people go to shop for homes, all they have is a for sale by owner website.
And that is why they're claiming the damages, because it hurt them severely. Because as an agent,
and they lost agents too.
As an agent myself,
yeah.
If I was told my brokerage no longer had an IDX feed or access to it, I would be out the door in a hurry, because that's our lifeline. That's our lifeline to being able to get houses that match the criteria of our clients and say, hey, take a look at this one, client. This one looks like it's exactly what you're looking for. If I don't have access to that, I can't do my job.
The only way that would work, because even Zillow doesn't do that. And Zillow is top of the mark. They still work with the MLSs and with agents. And so far that relationship has worked. You know.
That is correct. And it's the same thing. And you got to think in the real estate industry, there's got to be an equal balance, right? The reason why Zillow has never openly come out and said, hey, we're going to open up brokerages nationwide is because they have to walk a fine line with all of the MLSs so that way that there is no antitrust going on.
Well, we gotta go back to Howard Hanna real quick.
Yes.
Forgot all about these guys.
They come into it after the battle.
They're not getting off the hook. We got to talk about Howard Hanna. What's going on with Howard Hanna? Let me see. Howard, there we go. We got to make sure we brought that up here. Howard Hanna, real estate services, one of the largest independent brokerages in the country and longtime critic of the NAR, National Association of Realtors. I didn't know they were a critic.
Yes.
Okay. Is choosing to defy NAR's recent decision to affirm controversial Clear Cooperation policy. Josh, what is Clear Cooperation policy for the audience?
So Clear Cooperation policy is this right here. If I have a listing and I know it's coming up, within 24 hours of me starting to market that listing, I have to put it on the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so that everyone has a fair and equal shake at bringing a buyer to that house. The buyer has a fair shot at getting the house. And I'm not just taking this house that the seller has trusted me to sell and taking it over to you, say, Robert, hey, Robert, look, I got this house coming up, buddy. You got a buyer for it. They should hurry up and jump on it, right? That's what Clear Cooperation does. It prevents the in-house selling of houses before the rest of the public has access to them.
Yeah, because before there were certain buyers, right before they started really enforcing this, was there were so little listings and so many buyers that they would just sell the houses within their own brokerage.
That is exactly right. It was created during COVID. 2020 is when the Clear Cooperation policy was first created and enacted. Yeah. So it was due to the low inventory that we have. The fact that people are fighting over this right now, where we're at the highest number of listings since like 2013, is just baffling. But with scarcity, it creates greed when people are like, hey, I don't know.
Competition.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, keep getting the same amount of revenues that I've been getting. How can I keep the same revenue? And the way that you do that in the real estate industry is you do both ends. You do buyer and seller. You double your volume off of one transaction. And so that's what I look at this as.
Yeah. Well, I still haven't. Let me go back to Howard Hanna. What do you guys? You guys are just, you don't want me to talk about you. Okay. So the brokerage informed dozens of MLSs and NAR, National Association of Realtors, yesterday that it does not consider Clear Cooperation binding. though the rule has always been mandatory. Hanna Holdings, the brokerage's parent company, and its affiliates franchises will determine on a market-by-market basis whether to require their listing brokers to submit listings on MLSs, multiple listing services, with one day of marketing to the public, property to the public, wrote Howard Hanna, CEO, and letter shared with the MLSs. Hobie?
Yes.
Sorry, that fucked me up. I'm thinking of Baywatch. It will make these decisions based on its own business interests and independent of NAR and of any of the brokerages. What the hell's going on here? They just don't want to follow along with.
No. I think it's a broader play, right? So you got to think about where Compass is.
Yeah,
Compass is mainly
they're in a tough
on
spot
now. They're mainly on the West Coast though.
Yeah.
So they don't threaten Howard Hanna, who's all over the country, right? Yeah. Only in certain markets. So they chose their wording carefully on a market by market basis, basically saying, hey, if Compass isn't playing by the rules over here on the West Coast in California, in the San Francisco Bay Area, then we're not going to play by those rules either, right? But, if we're in the MLS where everyone's playing by the rules, we'll play by the rules as well, right? So I think they clearly align themselves, and they are one of the second largest, they are, quote unquote, depending on what source you look at, the second largest brokerage. But Compass is also in talks, I believe I've seen this somewhere, to acquire or to buy Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. There was talks about that maybe a month or two back. So if Compass does acquire Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, then they would essentially catapult to being their top threat. So it makes sense for the Howard Hanna to say they will consider it on a market-by-market basis.
Okay, what else? Spokesperson for Howard Hanna clarified that there would be no immediate change to how our brokers handle MLS submissions, and the brokerage was not withdrawing from any MLS. Instead, Howard Hanna is advocating for clear cooperation to be revisited, not necessarily disregarded. So that's what they're getting at there.
And I agree with that, because
so they're not like Compass throwing out the baby with the bathwater here. They're essentially trying to do business as usual. They want to work with the MLSs, but they say, hey, look, this isn't working for us anymore. Let's try to revisit this and see if there's something we can do about it.
Yes, and I think when they get back to the table in the revisiting, what's going to be said is, and it's something similar to what Northwest MLS did. Hey, if you want to do your private thing and you want to have your own private network, go do that. Mm-hmm. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have your private network of buyers over here that you're selling your listings to, but you want Howard Hanna to send all their listings to the MLS so that way that it can be fed over to you through your MLS IDX feed. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. So I think when they get back to the table and revisiting it, it's, hey, only those who are going to abide by clear cooperation policy will have the IDX feed and be able to work cooperatively in a market where there's 12 sellers to every one buyer.
I don't know why people are messing around here. Because, look, we're at a point right now where listings across the USA right now are largely outnumbering the buyer pool.
Correct.
And if we're in that where we're having a correction, now I think the correction when we started following this started off somewhere around Texas?
Yeah.
And then got into Florida, and we were like, oh, we don't feel this in Virginia. But now it's starting to happen even in Virginia. We're starting to see houses on the market. Ooh, 30 days, that was normal. Then the 60 days. Ooh, 60 days now. Oh, shit. And then price reductions. Cut. Right? It's starting to happen where buyers are saying, like, enough. And we're getting into that point, but we still have the big corporate seem to be trying to figure out their angle. Like, I don't see why you would try to limit your exposure.
I told you, it all comes down to 2023 was the slowest year in real estate in 25 years. 2024 was the slowest year in 30 years. 2025 is right neck and neck with 2024. So these big corporations, they have large overhead, and they have to figure out how they're going to bring in the same amount of revenue that they have in previous years. So this is essentially greed boiling up to say, hey, we could see this.
Is it greed or is it
survival?
There you go.
There it is. It's survival,
Okay.
right? So it's scarcity is what's happening, right?
Yeah.
The number of deals are getting more and more scarce, right? And so because there's scarcity, the survival mechanism kicks in and says, hey, our numbers are not looking good. We need to do something to generate more revenue in order to survive. And to me, that's how I look at Compass. I look at a company that is trying to survive. I don't know their financials.
Wait,
I don't
Compass
care to know their financials.
Is Compass somehow affiliated? Who's affiliated with Rocket Mortgage? Was that Compass?
No. So Rocket Mortgage just acquired Redfin, who was on the other side of that earlier photo.
Tug of War. Yeah, I was like,
yeah,
I was looking at that.
and that creates a whole nother dynamic.
Here, let me see if I can bring it
to
back up. Just to kind of see, refresh what we were looking at here. This was, that one was.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
You just passed it. Right
Yep. You got
So right there where you see Redfin.
Yep.
That's now Rocket Mortgage, right?
Okay.
And so it creates a whole nother tug of war inside the industry behind the scenes. Because here's another thing, right? Let's just get down to it because we're already in it, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say the biggest fallout from the Redfin acquisition by Rocket Mortgage is that Rocket Mortgage was feeding some brokerages through referrals, right? Just like Veterans United, just like Navy Federal, just like all of these other entities.
USA does it too.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them, right? They have different partnerships where they get referral fees, even Zillow, referral fees from brokerages, right?
Yeah.
And so
Very expensive to
Yes.
get in that program.
And so if Compass was one of these brokerages that were taking a lot of referrals from Rocket Mortgage and they were getting deals, and now Rocket Mortgage has acquired Redfin, and now they have an army of agents to refer their loans to, right? Well, Redfin's all over, so they have agents to send those referrals to. They no longer need to send them
Like
to Compass
stormtroopers.
or anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So now if you were a brokerage and you were surviving off of those referrals, and that rug just got ripped out from underneath you.
And they're no longer exclusive to you, only exclusive to somebody else.
Yeah. So now your revenues go down. And so that's why I see this play by Compass as a weak play. I think that there's probably some financial issues in the background that we don't know about that, only time will tell.
We'll see. It's a very interesting real estate landscape as we all try to navigate through here. But anyway, we got some... and we'll get into more episodes as we get in. We got a lot of people on standby waiting to be interviewed by us.
Yes.
So we wanted to start off, the back in the studio with just a quick market update of where we're seeing things and where we might be going. So this is a very challenging real estate environment where we have right now 60% of home buyers evidently cannot afford a home under $300,000. Right. So we have large amounts of consumer credit card debt, well over $1 trillion now. Something we haven't had to deal with before. We have interest rates in the 7s, which if you compare it to like the 80s, no, it's not that high. But realistically, after coming off, the holiday of 3% interest rates and below for so long, and because inflationary metrics and wages haven't kept pace, it's not the same thing as it was in the 80s. And I can tend to agree with that. So we're coming into an affordability crisis. Student loan debts have to be paid now. I think we saw some news articles with that where the president's administration wanted people to start paying their student loans on time again, and so that adds another layer to it. And so now we're starting to see, home builders have oversupply right now. They build too much.
They're renting.
Now they're renting those new constructions, and what that's doing is putting that downward pressure onto the the rental market.
Yes.
Because if you can get a new construction rental at, I don't know, let's say $3,000 a month, if you're going to a used house, you know, at $3,000 a month, they're not going to necessarily be able to do it. I mean, all of us, you know, a lot of other factors to take into consideration, but that still puts downward pressure on the rental market.
Correct.
So if not only that, we had some clients, or you had some clients. Oh yeah, we were talking about this. You had one of your bigger clients. Their corporate was telling them, stop cutting with a scalpel, cut with an axe.
Yeah. Use a hatchet.
Use a hatchet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's the race to the bottom mentality right now for most sellers. That's why we see the numbers. You know, we're seeing like 500 price reductions on a weekly basis. On a rolling 7-day average, over 500 homes are getting price reductions. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the thought process is we're seeing that race to the bottom. And if you're just like nickel and diming, you're like, hey, let's do 2,000, let's do 3,000. Someone else is swinging for 25,000. You know, obviously you need to find the bottom and find it quick. And so that's why you use a hatchet. And I've even seen $100,000 price reduction recently.
I mean, we know one of our good friends in Florida, they started off with a investment near the water, at $6 million? And they're down to what, in the threes now?
Yep, 3.9.
Race to the bottom.
Yep.
So, but we're starting to see that on not just in Florida, but we're starting to see it in Virginia. We're starting to see it, of course, we've heard
Texas, California, which California is Compass's backyard. So I just don't understand why.
This is why I don't understand anything why they would try to limit their exposure to listings on the MLS, because not just the MLS. I would follow any damn rule you had to get as much exposure as you can, because you need to put this in front of as many potential buyers as possible to try to try to invite them in.
Yes, yeah, you use inviting, but it's lure them in, right?
Yeah,
and it is. It's a numbers game, and that's what it is. The more people who see your house, the higher the probability that they're going to tour your house, and the more people who tour your house, the higher the probability that you're going to get a contract or multiple offers. So don't ever. My recommendation and advice to anyone out there who may be thinking about selling their home: don't limit yourself to any one private network.
No.
Don't do it.
No. You need as many eyeballs on that as possible. And if Zillow's not going to play ball with you, you're dead in the water, man. I don't care how awesome your brokerage is or company is. If you don't play ball with Zillow, because actually, honestly, I think Zillow holds more power than the MLSs.
And they do. And they do, because most of the buyers, 70% of them, start their home search on Zillow.
Yeah.
So that's why Zillow hit back at Compass and said, hey, you want to do your private thing? Go do your private thing. But when you're done doing your private thing, don't think you can come back through this door and put your houses over here for sale because you couldn't sell them in-house. And so, again, if you're a seller, Zillow has clearly said they will not accept these listings. Don't fall victim. Don't be like the person who gave a story of almost missing out on $100,000 because they thought they were going to go with one of these private networks. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. They can hang themselves. Because there's plenty of market. Well, that's already in the West Coast. That's not going to bother us. But, hey, West Coast guys, I don't know. Maybe I'd like to hear in the comments from former Compass employees.
Exactly.
To tell me what your experience has been through this whole ordeal. Is it overblown? Is it exactly kind of what we're talking about here? Let us know in the comment below. Maybe we'll have you on Real Estate Talk podcast in the future. You can help clear the air or add more context. We would love to hear about that. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Anybody, let us know. Go ahead and lead that. But anyhow, what else you got, my friend?
That's all.
All right. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, guys. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment below. Like we said, Compass guys, let us know what's up. With that, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you soon to the next episode.